here again at the chicken coop, and I'm back in my greenhouse, my happy place, and I'm potting up some of my cherry tomato seedlings. They have gone crazy. I've done a video before on this, so I'm not really teaching y'all about how to, pot up tomato seedlings. So y'all reference my other video before, but I am going to do this while we're just chit-chatting out here in the greenhouse. Got some new potting soil that I like it, it's okay, but for seedlings and stuff, it has a little bit of woody chips in here that I'm not too happy with. But I feel like I can't even poke my, there's some big piece of wood, see, there it is. I use chopsticks a lot growing things. So I'm just going to tease these out of this soil, use one of the stems, one of the leaves, and then poke it down in here as much as I can. So I hope y'all have started some of your garden seeds if you're in the South. I don't know if it's time for up north. I'm not a northern gardener, so I don't know the answers to those questions. These are some of my best seedlings I've done. I used that grow light, and I really like this grow light because my stems are good and thick. They're not wimpy. See how long? Yes, they're long, but they're not wimpy. They're not like real wimpy. Sometimes they're just paper little thin seedlings because they stretch so far to get to the light when I haven't used a grow light. These are some large red cherry tomato seedlings. So I'm going to pot them up in here. I need to plant onions this week. I should have already planted them. Usually I plant them in January, but I haven't done that yet. So my husband and I talked about that today, that we needed to get our onions planted. Though I've got tons of onions in the freezer from last year, but you never know what might happen to your freezer, so you need some onions. I need to do a video. I'll probably do it in the springtime of some of my favorite garden tools. And one of them would be a chopstick. I think of all these ideas while I'm shooting videos. I don't know what it is about that, but while I'm shooting videos, I think of all these creative ideas to do for videos, and then when I go to do them, I can't think of anything. I need to be writing them down or something. So I hope y'all are all getting some of your garden stuff together. I'm getting so excited about springtime. Y'all just don't even know. I am ready. So if you're on any of my pages and they're local and ever buy any of my seed starts, just know I'm going to have some large cherry tomatoes. That's one of them I'm going to have this year. It looks like I'm going to have a good batch of them if something doesn't happen between now and then. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. As they say. It's been cold. We had heat on in the greenhouse last night, but I don't have it on now. This is a good one. Look how nice this one is. And then from here, I'll probably go to my tin cans. I've talked to y'all about that before. I've saved tin cans, and that's what I'm going to plant a lot of plants in this year, is use my tin cans. So I'll probably go from this to the tin cans. And notice I'm not touching the stems. Like I say, I have that other video that kind of tells more about how to plant tomato seedlings, but I'm not touching the stems. I'm only touching the leaves, and I'm using this chopstick to poke it down in the hole. Tomato plants, believe it or not, are pretty forgiving, even as a little seedling. So don't be scared of them. And I just use the chopstick to kind of tease them apart. Alright, so I got this whole tray done, and I used two little scrawny ones to fill out the tray. But other than that, I actually have a whole huge tray of these large cherry tomatoes. So one job accomplished today. That makes me happy. So I'm going to go get some more, and then we're also going to plant some more seeds of some sort, I don't know what yet, in these little containers and put them back under my grow lights in the house. So let me go get some more plants, and I'll be right back. Hey y'all, it's Angel here again at the chicken coop. And today is the day we're going to plant onions. My husband is finishing up something in the house. My hair is crazy. Y'all know I got curly hair. And we're going to work on cleaning up some flower beds. We've got lots of weeds in here. We're going to get that out. Probably top off some pots, and then we're going to plant some onions in the garden. We probably should already had this done in January, but it's not too late to plant some onions. And I have tons of onions still in the freezer from last year, maybe even the year before some. So, you know, it's not too late. It's not going to be detrimental for us to plant some onions today. So we're going to get working in the garden. That makes me so happy, and especially when my husband comes out here to help me. Having helpers. So we'll be back when my husband comes. Hang on. All right, as with everything on the homestead, sometimes one project leads you into another project. We got all the I kind of got at least where my tomatoes and my peppers are going to be in my garden lined out for this year. I'm going to try something new. Especially when you have a small garden, you always have to work on utilizing your space. And one of the things that I did last year that I've mentioned on another video was that I planted my tomatoes back to back, and I'm not doing that again this year. I made that mistake. I don't know what I was thinking, but it just didn't allow enough airflow. They were too congested back to each other. So I'm only going to do tomatoes on one side of any of my trellises that I have up. And I'm going to start on one side of each lane, and then the next year I can move to the other side so my trellises can remain in place, and that way I'm also kind of rotating my garden a little bit. But this year I'm going to try something new. Instead of just planting a whole area of onions. I'm going to try to interdisperse my onions around my tomatoes and my pepper plants and see if I can utilize a little bit more space in my garden. I always plant marigolds around my onions, around my tomato plant, so I'm going to still leave a little bit of space for that, but I'm going to try doing that this year. And like I say, I have plenty in the freezer. If it doesn't work, I probably haven't lost a whole lot of onions, okay? All right, so the one thing, the project that it has led to was we had just a short little trellis in what we call our postage stamp garden. And I told my husband I really want to extend that. We had used just small pieces of cattle panels to do that. And we have big large runs of cattle panels. So he went down there to grab a larger cattle panel, and we pulled that trellis up, and we're going to work on putting in a larger cattle panel and making it straight and everything. My husband and I are both kind of real anal about things being straight, so it kind of bothers us sometimes when things aren't straight. And we kind of threw it together last year, and it wasn't as straight as we would like it to be, so we're going to work on that today. And he's kind of not happy with me because he just thought he was coming out here planting onions, and now he's on to another project. But he'll be all right. He's not that mad at me or anything. I'm going to turn you around here and let you see what we're doing.
Move it out just a little bit.
All right. Okay, so say what you just said a minute ago.
We're moving out our little fence row to hold our tomatoes about another foot or two from where we were. Give a little more room to gather, hold a few onions, whatever else you're going to put in there.
No, I meant what did you just say just a minute ago before I started this camera?
Slave driver.
So this is what we call our postage stamp garden, and I'm weeding around those. We had okra there, and my garlic is in there, and I'm weeding that as we're sitting here doing this. But this is our original garden. Our original garden spot. Not very big, just started with a small little garden. But we still kind of keep it at least mulched and covered because we do utilize it. And I've worked so hard to get this. It's really good soil, and I've worked so hard, I don't want it to just grow up with grass. So I always kind of try to keep this mulched a little bit. There's my new windmill my son got me for Christmas. It's going to town. You really can't tell it on this video, but it is. It's a little windy today. It's nice outside, but it's windy. Right, lad? Well, let me see if I can spin around here. I'll try to spin slow so you don't get a... Here's my other windmill. It's going to town too. All right, let us get started in here. All right, so it's a lot straighter. We measured it off our fence, and my husband's putting this last pole in. We were actually able to use the piece that we had originally, and it worked out almost perfect to extend it out here. So we just about got it within the edge of the garden, but that's perfect. That's to be perfect. We tried this method last year. We had never used the cattle panels before, and we really like that. We always use like tomato cages, and then our tomatoes would get so big and so huge they'd end up falling over. We'd have to restake them, and it was just getting to be a bigger pain than what we liked. So we had these laying around, these pieces and stuff, and so we did that short little trellis last year and a few trellises in my big garden, and we really like that method. So we're going to extend it out this year and be able to plant more tomatoes over here on this side. Woo, this wind is getting it. So now we're ready to plant onions. Well, we got all these onions planted. It was 2 big onion bunches, sets of onions, 2 big bunches. Worked out perfect as our spacing. One thing my husband used as his spacing was the bars on the cattle panels. They're about 6 inches apart, so that made a perfect guide for spacing. So that's just a little tip and trick. Use what you already have there for your spacing. Makes it really handy. You don't have to do any kind of measuring or anything like that. So now we're on to planting one more bunch that we bought mixed into our tubs. All right, so we've been weeding the garden and pulling off the lower leaves of these brassicas, and my cabbage looks so much better. Getting all this ready for spring. We'll get some leaves on this so we don't have to deal with these weeds again. Got some more onions planted, just kind of semicircle around the front of the tubs. I'll plant the tomato towards the back, and then any marigolds kind of right there, right past the onions. So this is going to be some tomatoes. Got all that done. All these weeded. All those weeded. My asparagus bed over there weeded. Tomorrow we may work on cutting back my lantana, stuff like that. That'll be coming up, doing some more weeding. We've got just a few more tubs that need to be weeded. And we will have made a good start for our spring garden. And I really am so glad Lad helped me. So thanks for visiting with me. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.